There's this thing that keeps happening around me, and once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. Somebody I love will be mid story, just catching me up on their week, and somewhere in the middle of it, they'll drop a little sentence about themselves. Well, you know me, I'm just bad at this stuff. I always do this. That's just how I am. And then they keep going like nothing ever happened, easy as telling me the time. And I've started hearing those little sentences for what they actually are, which are ballots, tiny votes getting cast in the middle of a Tuesday for a version of that person that isn't even true. And nobody in the room counts them, which is the scary part because the count is happening anyway. It's happening in the nervous system, it's happening in the choices that quietly stop getting made. So I stop them every time mid sentence, and we're going to talk about why because there's a full moon coming up that is going to turn the volume all the way up on every voice declaring everything. And before it does, I want you to know about the election you've been holding inside your own self. My name is Daniel Colon, also known as Color Me Crazy Baby, revolutionary astrologer, helping you make sense of these crazy ass times through the wisdom that is astrology. So, July 29th, the full moon in Aquarius, and I keep calling it the loudest moon of the summer because look at what's up there. But everybody's reading the loudness one way. Shine your light, step into your power, it's golden era, manifest. And I'm not going to hand you one more thing to manifest. I want to go underneath all of that to the machine that was already running before you ever lit a candle. The sentences, the ones you say about your own life out loud and under your breath, because every single one of them is a vote for a reality. It's co-creative. That's the whole episode. Stay with me. Here's the line I hold on to, and it's from Terence McKenna, wonderful psychonaut, trippy, dippy dude, all right? And his quote is, "The story you tell yourself is largely the story you're living." And when I first sat with that, I'll be honest, part of me wanted it to be a cute quote, something for a coffee mug, because the alternative is a little terrifying. The alternative is that the sentence I mutter at myself every single day counts. That the thing I say while I'm laughing, "Oh, I would never do that," gets filed away somewhere. And what I've come to believe from watching my own life is that it does count. All of it counts. You are voting for the world you live in with the words you use about it. And you don't get to abstain. Silence votes or the whisper votes, the joke votes. And I can tell you where I learned it because I've run this experiment on myself. There are sentences I used to say about me and this work back in the earlier years of building all of this, and they came from a feeling. And I was treating that feeling like it was knowledge. But there's a difference between knowing something and feeling something, and I was projecting the feeling and calling it truth. And every single day since then has been this battle, and I mean a real daily battle of choosing the story that's actually in alignment with who I'm becoming instead of the story that's just louder, instead of the story that I'm just masking. And my life changed shape when the story did. That's my evidence. That's the receipt I can show you. Now, why am I telling you this for like this week? Why do we need to understand this feeling? Well, look at the sky with me because the mechanics here are almost funny. The sky is sitting directly on top of Jupiter in Leo right now, almost exact. And Jupiter is the gospel planet. That's my word for him. He's how we preach, how we open doors. It's the quest we're on. So you've got the gospel planet inside the sun in the sign of self-expression, which means whatever you are preaching right now about yourself, about your life, about what's possible is getting amplified like it's coming through a stadium sound system. The gospel of you turned all the way up, and you're preaching one whether you mean to or not. And across the whole sky, the moon goes full in Aquarius, standing right next to Pluto as well. Aquarius is the many, the collective, the group nervous system. Pluto is the deep story. the one underneath the stories you tell at the dinner parties. So a full moon here is full illumination on what's actually been declared and who it's been reaching. The stuff you've been broadcasting with your energy, with your words, lands somewhere, my loves, in your people, in your own body. And the moon is just turning the lights on over the ballot box right now. And then, and this is the part that gets me every single time I sit with this chart, Uranus is sitting in Gemini as well. The sign of language itself, throwing a line to both ends of this thing, right? We got Uranus, the planet of twists and turns, of sudden ahas, of revolution, in a sign of curiosity, which means the whole way out is built into the sky this week. The sudden rewrite of our story. The moment you hear your own truth out loud and something in you goes, wait, who wrote this? You know, there's a tarot card underneath this exact stretch of Aquarius for this decan of Aquarius. And the card associated with it is the Five of Swords. And I want you to look at it with me because the swords are language, thoughts, words. One figure is out here on a battlefield holding all of the swords and everybody else is walking away. He won the argument. He collected every sword on the field. And here's what I see when I look at him this week. In the aftermath of all the spoken and unspoken battles, is there really a winner? And who or what is our truth actually fighting for? Because your most repeated sentence is a little politician, mi gente. It's been campaigning in there for years. It's got a whole speech. Pick me. You know me. I've always been true. Remember? Remember that one time? And it wins every single election it runs in. And you want to know why? It's because it's the only name on the ballot. Nobody ever runs against it. I always do this. Nobody wants what I make. I'm too much. I'm not enough. That sentence won again this morning before even showing up to make this video. And it'll win again, maybe sometime in the near future. Standing there, holding all the swords while the other truer sentences walk off the field until somebody registers a challenger. So this full moon, that's the move. You don't have to silence the old truth. You don't have to fight it either. You just have to put a second name on the ballot, a name that challenges the status quo, a name inscribed with radical autonomy and liberation for self and all. Let me show you what the challenger sounds like, because this is the thing I actually do, and this is where I plant my flag. Somebody around me says, I'm getting so bad at this. I'm so terrible at this. And I stop them every single time mid-sentence and I go, no, 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 no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. That's not what we doing. You're not getting bad at this. You're getting better and better and better and better at this. You've been getting better this whole time. And watch, that's a fully legitimate sentence. It's actually more accurate than theirs. And it does something completely different to the room. In these small shifts of truth, which is what we're looking at when we think about Aquarius and Leo. Leo is the projection of truth, the trying on of truth. And Aquarius asks and questions the authenticity of that truth. Now, I really believe this when it comes to Leo and Aquarius. We are co-creating a collective that thinks forward instead of backward right now. That's the Aquarius stake in it all. So, 2 moves this week, and they're small on purpose. Move number 1 for you. Catch 1 vote leaving your mouth, just one, the one you cast the most. Write it down the way you actually would say it, and then register the challenger, the sentence that's just as true and leaves the door open. Then say the new one out loud, just once, actually out loud, because the gospel planet that is Jupiter is listening, and honestly, so is your body. Move number 2 for your people. This is the Aquarius side of things, because this can't stay me focused. The whole walk of this axis is me focused to get we focused. Sometime this week, somebody you love is going to cast a vote against themselves right in front of you. That's your moment. Interrupt it with warmth, with a little bit of humor, the way you'd catch a glass falling off a table. That's the higher octave of Leo. And I mean this exactly the way I'm saying it. Sometimes we get to dominate the pessimistic spaces with our loves. a cynical room, a defeated group chat, a friend reading themselves to death. Walk in there with some warmth. Refuse that story. Loves, this is community organizing on the smallest possible scale, and it's the most Aquarian thing you can do with a full moon like this. And if you've got anything living in the early degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio, first 10 degrees or so, I wouldn't be surprised if this week hands you the exact conversation I'm describing. You'll hear a sentence, yours or somebody else's, and it'll suddenly sound like what it is, like a trap. That's Uranus doing you a favor. Trust the aha moments, take it, and run with it. Now, I keep thinking about the person from the top, the one I love, mid-story, casting that little vote like it was nothing. Because the loose chains of this world, the conformity stuff, the systems, the profiting when we stay small, none of that needs a villain twirling a little mustache. It just needs us to keep re-electing the smallest version of ourselves quietly for free in our own voice. And freedom, and I mean this with my whole chest, freedom is a choice, and we choose it every truth we whisper to ourselves and shout to each other. The polls don't close, by the way. That's the good news here. Every sentence between now and this big Leo eclipse happening on August 12th is another ballot. And whatever you're declaring by then walks into that beginning with you. So speak about yourself and our future like it matters, because it does. All right? All right. Well, I love you. Be well, be bright, be bold, be brave. If you would like your extended reading of this lunation, then join me in the collective. It's my private membership community. There's workshops, there's an online community, there's horoscopes, so much more. Description, links below. Check it out. I'll see you on the other side of this. Los amos. Bye for now.